everybody, and welcome to Movie Couple Live. This is the show where we talk about the latest in pop culture and movies. I'm Wendy.
I'm Dustin.
And happy Saturday, you guys. Welcome to our live stream. There's so much to talk about today, of course, because it's Saturday, naturally. We are going all spoilers in for Falcon and the Winter Soldier finale.
We're also going to be talking about Mortal Kombat and our reactions, our initial reactions. Our review is yet to come. And also we're going to be talking about how Joe Taslim is going Taslim, thank you. I was like trying to glance at the name and look at the camera. Is actually already signed for 4 sequels.
And possibly, well, I think it's confirmed actually, a Parasite series for HBO. All this and more on today's show. You guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. We look forward to this all week. And I know we have 2 live streams, but Saturday is just because of the spoiler discussion back and forth that I feel like it's, really interactive. So we get to hang out with you guys, talk with you guys, kind of get you guys' thoughts on some of the topics that we're talking about. As always, we are going to be leaving the spoiler discussion for Falcon and the Winter Soldier to the later part of the show, because not everybody may have been caught up yet. So we're going to use the beginning of the show to kind of talk about some of the other news pieces, which will be Parasite and the series Mortal Kombat, Shadow and Bone, you guys.
Yes.
It's on Netflix. We're definitely going to be talking about it. Sorry, I was thinking about going into the fold. We actually
into the fold.
Nope, it's not going to work. It's not going to work.
That would be kind of a funny spoof.
Somebody out there's got to do a parody it. We'll watch it. You guys, we hope you've been having a good week. This week, I feel like really flew by. Like, I feel like it was just yesterday when we did the live stream.
Yeah, it's actually, well, for me, it's been really quick because I've been working my butt off. Back to work, back to the grind kind of a thing. So, and it's probably been quick for you because I haven't been home at all. So you're kind of like, I get to do my own thing.
I've been actually streaming the last couple of days on Twitch. So just doing some Animal Crossing there. Those are the types of games that I usually like to play because I like to have a good time and just relax on the stream. So, but I think on Sunday, if I stream, I might switch it up and do a little Paper Mario because I haven't gotten anywhere in that game. I think I'm only at the 2nd Elemental Temple. So, what I might do is play a little bit before I actually stream just to know my controls. Because you get used
back into the groove of it.
Right, like you're used to certain controls. And you and I have been playing Borderlands 3 privately on our own, and Xbox controllers.
Been switching to
Switch, and I kept on hitting the wrong button. I kept on exiting out, and I'm like, what is this? Or I would cancel instead of confirm and confirm instead of cancel. So look forward to that. If you guys feel like hopping on Twitch and hang out with me as I game. It's just my name, twitch.tv/Wendy Lee Zaney.
And I try to hop in there if I'm on my break at work.
He does, and it's kind of funny. He's like, yesterday he was going to bring home some dinner, and I went to text him like, "This is what I want." He's like, "I can hear you, Wendy." Like, oh, okay.
Like, Wendy, you don't need to text me. I'm watching your show live. So it's I'm watching you, and Wendy's just texting away, and then she sends it. I'm like, "Hun, I can see and hear you right now."
My bad.
So it's like I got the text before she texted it.
Yeah. Well, we have a lot to talk about today, so why don't we just go ahead and jump right into our news flash? And this one, we're talking about the Parasite series for HBO. So this is not going to be a remake or anything like that. It is going to be within the same universe, but it is, according to writer Adam McKay, he is working with Bong Joon-ho on this, which is great because you definitely should not like work with the director who created this whole thing. So that's got to be kind of cool, like bragging rights. Like, yeah, I'm working with director Bong Joon-ho. Like, that's pretty cool. Like, how many Oscars did that movie take home?
It took home like everything.
A lot.
Best foreign, best picture, best director. I mean, did it win best director? I think it did.
It did.
He won a lot of stuff. Well deserved.
I remember seeing the movie at TIFF, and I've told the story before, and I was so excited to come back and tell him about it so he could watch it, and then watched it several times after that. It's a fantastic movie. So yes, this is set in the same universe. Timeline and everything else is kind of unconfirmed. Cast is unconfirmed. I wonder if they will do a cameo from any of the original cast members coming back.
Yeah. I'm wondering
specifically the father and the son, or maybe the family.
Yeah.
But I don't know, because if it's going to be original, then maybe they stay away from that. We can mention names like, oh, did you hear what happened at the birthday party? They had people living under, so they can kind of go that route, because their story, in a sense, has been told. So then what do they do now? And are we going to meet characters that kind of have interacted with the family in the past, like the pizza shop people, or his college friend, So I'm very curious, and I just want them to do the movie and the Parasite universe justice. Like, you can't, this is not like, you can't screw this up.
I mean, and also the biggest story element is supposed to be that huge gap in reality between the poor and the rich. And I think, as long as they kind of keep focused on that theme, they keep focused on that kind of that overall narrative story, I think that's what's really important. I think you can variate or you deviate from the original characters and from the original storyline a little bit, and be able to tell other stories that kind of show this gap between the rich and the poor. Yeah. So, he kind of has a lot of freedom to be able to tell his story. So I'm really curious, just what direction they are actually planning on going.
Yeah, very curious about it. Obviously, we're going to keep our eyes on this piece of news for sure. You guys, let us know in the chat, or if you're watching in the rebroadcast, let us know in the comments what you think about a Parasite series based on the movie that is within the same universe, but probably unlikely to feature any of the lead cast as a main character. Let us know what you would like to see. We love to hear about it. We love to discuss it with you. So put that in the chat now as we move on to our next topic, and that is
Mortal Kombat!
All right. Sorry, that's all I can sing.
Way off tone on that. So.
Yeah, just random beats. Doesn't even have to.
It has to be just beats that want to get you fighting.
And then Mortal Kombat. Just yell Mortal Kombat every now and again. So you guys know we absolutely love the trailers for Mortal Kombat. We love the first 7 minutes when it was released, and now it's available. At least here in the U.S. I don't know if they did a global theatrical release, but at least here in the U.S.
I think actually that Jack in our part of our movie bunch said that he has not been able to find a release date for Mortal Kombat in the UK yet. I'm like, no, that sucks that you're not able to get it yet. So,
but don't worry, Jack. This review is going to kind of stay spoiler free for the most part, because we know a lot of you guys are here to listen to us like chit chat about Falcon and the Winter Soldier and what we thought of the finale. So, I think if you're familiar with the video game and the characters, then I don't really think anything's going to be spoiled to you in the way we're going to talk about it. But this movie definitely kind of kicked you off with the origin of two very iconic characters, and I would say that would be Sub-Zero and Scorpion.
Yes.
Really, really interesting to see where they came from, and then how it kind of turned into this search for Earth's champions, and how there's going to be a huge tournament. So we won't say too much about the storyline just in case of spoilers.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about the fight scenes and the actions, and of course the fatality. I think a lot of them, I haven't played the newest iteration of the game, but from video clips and gameplay that I've seen, a lot of these fatalities are
pretty much right out of the game.
But and it's a little bit more gross too, because the game is a game. I don't know why in my head there's a really weird divide when I'm playing a video game where you see gore and things like that. You recognize
it's more animated.
It's really
violence,
not real.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is. But when you put it on screen and you see a certain somebody's flawless victory, I guess.
And you're just like, oh!
And you're just like, but I think that one, hands down, and there's so many to choose from, hands down is probably my favorite fatality in the whole movie. And they're all good, they're all gory, and but that one, I was like, oh no, they did it. Props to all the actors who worked really hard on all the stunt sequences.
Yep.
We were reading that Joe Taslim being a professional martial artist, if you haven't watched, I say this every time I talk about Joe Taslim, if you haven't watched him in Warrior, if you haven't watched the Warrior show in general, get on it right now. It's available on HBO, both seasons. You can binge both. You want to binge both. It's fantastic. We watched some of the featurettes or behind the scenes yesterday after watching the movie. And
watching them put together the fight scenes.
Put together the fights.
How they work together so well. It really does show on screen some of these amazing, amazing fights. I do have to admit, there were some fights that were much, much better than others.
Yes,
but there are so many. There are just tons and tons of fights. And it kind of makes sense that you would have some fights that do just really stand out on the choreography, on the storytelling behind the fight, even though there's no dialogue, on what the fights are saying, the subtext, and just the pure talent that is in this fight. Yeah. And then you have some other fights that are not quite as impressive.
Yeah, there's some that are definitely more intricate and fun to watch than some of the others, but take into consideration all the different fighting styles and stuff like that. But I think in our minds, we kind of knew which ones we really wanted to see.
Yes.
So we finally got to that part of the movie. We're just like tunnel vision into our television set. We're like, yes, this is what I'm here for. I'll say there are some plot holes that we will address in our like more formal review, because I want to keep it super spoiler free, because globally this is not available for everybody. I will say I was thoroughly entertained. I liked some of the liberties that they took with certain various characters. It makes sense for me. Kano, hands down, was the funnest character to watch, but we knew that going into this movie.
Yeah, we were kind of anticipating that Kano was going to steal the scenes that he was in. And I think they did what they did with him. We'll go into more detail later, but I think they just made him the most that he could be, kind of thing.
He made him the most he could be. I felt like the actor had a fantastic time.
I think if we actually heard in an interview that the actor that plays Kano was just having so much fun being Kano. And you can kind of tell on screen when you actually watch this movie, you're sitting down going, this guy must have had a blast as Kano, because you can just tell the grin on his face is a little too real for him not to be enjoying himself to the max.
Really happy for him that he was born to play Kano. So much fun. Overall, fun, entertaining movie. Are there parts that I didn't like? Sure. I felt like certain characters and certain angles and things like that could have been flushed out a little bit better. And some of the scenes could have been not chopped away completely, but maybe shortened to make room for some of the other scenes. But again, we're not sitting in the editing room, so who knows what this is the visual that they have. But we want to talk about Joe Taslim, who was so good at what he does. He was asked to slow down his movements.
Yes.
On camera, so the cameras could catch it, and that's what you are dealing with on the set full of pros, pros of pros. The proest of pros.
Yeah, I mean, what is it? They say that it was him, Bruce Lee, and the guy in Mulan when he was doing his names. Terrible names. Donnie Yen. Those are like some of the few actors that they've had to be like,
can you slow
that looked
it down?
Awesome. Can you slow it down? It was a little too fast. Our cameras can't get it.
Excuse me, but your awesomeness is too good for our camera. Can you lessen your awesomeness? Can you drop your awesomeness level by just a little bit? Which is such a compliment, I think, to the skill set of the actors.
Yeah.
And the martial artists who do this. So if you guys haven't checked out Mortal Kombat yet, please do, if you can do it safely, whether it's in the theater or from the safety and the comfort of your home, with unlimited snacks and unlimited bathroom breaks. Snacks. All right, you guys. Oh, and also Vanja says Jet Li in Lethal Weapon 4.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember when they were talking about that. Especially when he was like doing the disconnecting the gun.
Yeah.
I was always like, that is so cool. I remember the first time I saw Jet Li in Lethal Weapon 4, and everyone was just like, who is this guy? Well, all of the American audiences that had not seen him before. Yes. Oh, he was known in many other circles, but as soon as the American audience saw him, they were like, "Oh, this guy is so awesome! He is such a He's such a butt kicker.
We have a super chat from Dark Jedi Knight. Thank you so much. Who writes,
thank you so much.
I want Wendy to cosplay as this version of Melina just to see if she can pull off a savage man eating ninja. I feel like I could. I feel like that darkness is inside me.
Get all that mouth makeup on there.
Buy some cosmetic blood and paint a little bit on, and then get the cosmetic teeth. The teeth is going to be the hardest part.
Yeah.
For it to look like I'm not wearing teeth when I have my mouth closed. Like when your mouth is open and you're like, like that's easy because it's out. But the teeth, because you're wearing them on, they're not your actual teeth. So you have to put fake teeth on top of your real teeth. And it usually looks like.
Yeah. And also
a little bit like
it's really tough too, because I've done some kind of makeup like that before when I was kind of doing like the Joker.
Didn't you have like fangs of Hong Fangs?
There was, I had like vampire fangs once, but the thing is about making your mouth look bigger than it really is the fact that then you can't really move your mouth very much because all of this, it's imagine someone putting their hands here and then for the rest of the day, that's all you can do because you don't want to make any big facial movements because either it will crack the makeup or whatever you've put like your teeth on there or your scars on there and they just kind of start to peel off and fall.
Yeah.
So it's a very difficult like makeup thing to actually be able to pull off. But it is, I've seen some cosplayers do it and it looks awesome.
I am trying right now to find a full body shot of the movie version Melina and I can't find it right now. All I'm seeing is her face. Would love to try it, but I need to see the rest of her actual outfit first. And funny story, I used to have size. I had like 2 pairs.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what I did with them. And then
throughout a whole bunch of different moving, they
did
just vanished.
I think I may have gifted a set to somebody. I think I had 2 sets before I left home, like Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I gifted a set to somebody because I couldn't take both with me. You know what? They might be in that bin with the crossbow.
Oh, well, no, the crossbows. I know where the crossbow is.
Isn't it in a box?
Nope.
It's a little handheld one.
Yeah, but I know where it is. It's actually up in the closet.
Okay, so then
I know where I think I know what box you're talking about. So yeah, maybe we can go and find them.
We'll look for it. So welcome
maybe for your birthday, I'll buy you some new size.
Make sure they're lighter. The ones that I had were heavy. They were heavy. They were hard to spin and do stuff with. So kind of funny. Like this is like went from like movie chat to what kind
cosplay chat.
What kind of cosplay and like like weapons I have in the house. All right. So is she okay now?
Oh, she's being a little bit of a pain.
You want to bring her up for a second before we move on to the next topic?
Daddy, bring me on. I want to be on the show.
I want to be on the show.
I want to say hi to everybody. Hi, everybody.
Her hair is growing back a little bit. We had her shaved or cut pretty short. And now it's, she's a little bit fluffier. And the next week we should show her off every Saturday.
Yeah.
To see the progression of Navi in her fluffiness.
The progression of Navi's fluffiness.
Yeah, progression of
so
Navi's
fluffy.
Fluffiness.
Well, not anymore, but soon you will be.
You're fluffy again.
You will be fluffy soon.
I think she lost a little bit of her like majesticness when she lost a bit of the fluff. Navi does this thing where she kind of sits like a sphinx.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It usually looks better when she's kind of fluffed out. And I've always wanted to buy like a little like Cleopatra or some sort of like outfit for her because she sphinx so much.
Sphinx like an Egyptian?
Sphinx like a Navi. But right now when she's sphinx, she's just kind of like
she looks
slightly pathetic. Yeah. Slightly pathetic.
Just slightly, but we still love you so much. Navi.
Johnny, welcome to the show. I just got here. Did you talk about Captain America 4? Confirmed already. P.S. I love you guys. Kisses from Brazil. Thank you so much for watching all the way from Brazil. We haven't talked about it yet. So
but that's actually something that
we're
we
going to talk
will
about
be addressing
in just a little bit
later on in the show.
So stay tuned. We'll get to that very soon. Blade says, I can believe it. The Scorpion and Sub-Zero suits look like they weighed a lot. They did. They looked like they were heavy duty, which is crazy because of the amount of stunt that they did.
Mm-hmm. That is actually something that I'm very impressed with this movie is the fact that the costumes were on point. They looked amazing and they fought in those costumes. I'm sitting here going, especially with Kung Lao. I was watching him with that huge hat. I'm like, how are you able to fight in that thing?
When also people need to get close to him and his vision half the time, like you can maybe see out one eye, but only at a certain angle.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say I can't say what I want to say, but I will say there needed to be more fight scenes with Kung Lao. that's what I personally would have preferred more. Like
Yeah.
I thought his entrance was sick.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted more like a more longer drawn out fight, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what I would have wanted more.
He did a lot of good training fight kind of things.
Yeah, but that's like baby things, you know? It's baby stuff.
But it was just super impressive seeing him fight with that hat on and
I wanted more.
Seeing so many of the other characters being able to fight in these costumes that you're sitting here. If you've done any cosplay before, you know how difficult it is just to walk around in some of these costumes.
You're like, oh, excuse
let
me.
alone,
Excuse me.
yeah, sorry. Let alone being able to do a full complicated fight scene that is just incredibly detailed and incredibly technique oriented.
Yeah, and this is why rehearsals matter a lot, and you should rehearse not just outside of your costumes, but also with your costumes. Specifically, if you have masks and hoods and hats like that on, it impairs your movement and vision. So when you think you can go full out because you know these moves, adding the costume adds a whole nother, it can be a challenge until you get used to it. So I'm betting that, you know, for all the actors, they would run the fights without costume, then with the costume, then with the weapon, then with the hero weapon, you know,
the training
weapon. Yeah. And then the weight and everything is different than when you do martial arts. Like when your body's used to a certain weight distribution and balance. And then when you add something a little bit different, like a different weapon, then you're like, well, now I got to adjust it. Cause you know, so I can't wait for like when the DVD comes out and they give us a much longer featurette and behind the scenes look on the fighting. Like that should be an hour. I would watch it for an hour, you know? So let's go ahead and talk about Shadow and Bone. This show also premiered on Friday. It's now available on Netflix. It's based on the trilogy of the Grishaverse books by Lee Berdugo. And it's also featured the duology series, the duology books series. Six of Crow is also featured in the show. Dustin and I are barely into, we think maybe halfway. We
are halfway through episode 3.
So we're right where MK is.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God, it's so good. The book is great. I love
everything in this so far.
The series is great. The setting, the visual, the costume, the writings, the character, the acting.
Yes. And something that also one thing that's always really good to see in movies is when you sit down and you can feel the camaraderie or the struggle or the animosity between characters. Not just the fact that one or two characters are really cool, but the fact that everyone in the show has a relationship, has some kind of connection, and you can feel it, you can see it. And this is just an amazingly well-written, well-acted, cinematography shot series. And it's very entertaining. And it really does just kind of grab you and then pull you into the world. And just to know that we're only scratching the surface of this, you know, about just the different magic system. I'm really dying to find out more and more about the magic system.
The Grisha?
Yeah.
And when they're tested and how that, well, they said apparently it's like a random thing when you get tested.
Yeah.
And you're just whatever power, whether you're an Inferni or a Squaller or I think Tidemaker. And of course we have Taylor, which are rare. And then we have
so many.
The Hearttender is really cool too.
Yeah.
So real quick, I just wanted to point out this nice thing Blade said. Blade says, I want to talk about some of the other characters and their costumes, but I don't want to ruin it for some international movie bunch members. Thank you so much, Blade. That's how we feel too. Like we really want to dive into it, but I can't talk about it without like there's only a small percentage. Like it's not like Falcon and the Winter Soldier where it's available for most people.
Yeah.
I think certain countries unfortunately don't have access to Disney Plus, which I think is a real bummer.
Yeah.
But like at least by now, everybody who is a big fan of the show have made the time to, you know, take the hour to watch the show. But Mortal Kombat, it's kind of a different thing. So thank you so much, Blake, for keeping it a little bit more vague and nondescript, because we want to. I almost said certain things, but I was like, I can't talk about
it's like,
this.
We'll talk about it in our spoiler review.
Yes.
I think
we'll do a regular. We're gonna do 2 like we normally do. We'll do a non-spoiler and then we'll do a spoiler. But if you guys want, everybody who is on our Discord, I can do a spoiler channel for Mortal Kombat, so we can like dive into it. Tell us what you like, what you didn't like. We can tell you the same, what we liked and what we didn't like, so we can kind of.
And if they're making more movies, I mean, they've already signed an actor for 4 more movies. It's
Yeah.
kind of like, yeah, we're going to be able to keep that channel. I mean, that conversation going.
Absolutely. Tony Tedford in the chat, Movie Bunch, says, I usually skip through scenes, but with shows like this, but man, I did not. I watched every bit of it. This
Yep.
is so interesting, and I'm really liking how they're doing the show, where they're showing us simultaneously, essentially, adaptations of 2 books for the duology and for the Shadow of Bone trilogy. Like, this is really interesting to see both sides. I am in love with like the entire cast. I don't know where they go to find these people, but everybody's pretty. Everybody is pretty. How?
You got an entire cast full of attractive people.
And then you have Ben Barnes.
Yeah, and then you have Ben Barnes that puts them all to shame.
What? I will say, I think out of all the places I've seen, Ben Barnes plays a lot of villains, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, we
Prince
don't
Caspian
know.
wasn't really villain.
No, and also we don't know if
Jigsaw was.
Jigsaw was, but we also
so
don't know
good in that role.
if this character that he's playing in Shadow and Bone is a villain.
Well,
he's dark and mysterious.
He's a dark,
but he's not, he doesn't seem evil. He doesn't seem like a bad guy, even though you're just like, he's hiding something. What is he hiding? And those who read the books, don't spoil it for us.
Don't spoil it. I'm still on book 1. I got 5 hours left in the first book, and I think what I'm gonna do, because originally
only 5 hours
left.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So you're almost done.
I'm almost done with the first. Well, let me check Let me check my Audible. Hold on. It's easier for me to listen to a book than read
I thought you were like more like 5 hours into it, and you still had like a lot more to go.
I got 5 hours left.
I mean, honestly, after this series, I'm
on chapter 10.
Chapter 10?
Halfway
Okay.
through.
So I'm really curious on, because as soon as this series is over, I want to hop into the books, and maybe I'll just borrow your Audible for a little bit, your Audible account.
Absolutely.
And I'll be able to listen to them and see what things they left out. So far, Wendy's already going, oh, they took this out, but that's something they probably could have taken out.
Yeah, there's things that it still satisfies the main story, and I think a part of it, they take out certain things so they can make room, certain things so they can make room for the Six of Crows story. Yeah. So to see Kaz, and who is definitely like, I feel like the villain, but he has, what's that thing that you say about some of the best villains really believes in their
sympathetic, really good villains don't think that they're villains
because they believe
it's
so
not
much in their cause.
I want to do evil, kind of a thing. The best villains are the ones who are like, no, I have a goal, I have an objective that is justified and right, and even though you may not agree with my methods, it's still what I'm doing is right, and my ends will justify the means.
But I'm loving his like cast of characters too, like Jesper and Inej is like just so intriguing to me. So we can't wait. After this live stream, we're actually going to hop right back into so we can finish that episode before we move on to doing other things in our day. So if you guys haven't watched Shadow and Bone and you have Netflix, put that on your to watch list, or if you have nothing else to watch, you're like, oh, I don't know what I should do today. Watch one episode. You're going to love it. One of the first things Dustin said when we were in the initial camp, and as Mel and Alina walks past the Grisha training and they were, setting their targets on fire, you said something along the lines of, already better bending than M. Night Shyamalan's Avatar: Last Airbender.
Yeah, I have to admit, they were doing air bending, they were doing fire bending, and I'm sitting here going, wow, already better bending, than
it's
Avatar.
True, and the squallers and everything. I was like, and the hearttenders, which you in a way, not the hearttenders, is it the ones that
are able to
control people's bodies? We kind of equivalated them.
They're like bloodbenders.
Yeah, the equivalent of a bloodbender. So
I even like that. They were like doing I love all the hand
and they hear the bone.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh yeah. It's so good. I can't believe I didn't even know about the books until the series was announced. I'm so sad that I had all this time to like dive into the books and be a fan back then. But you know what?
Yeah.
I'm happy that the show introduced me to the book, so I'm diving into the books and watching the show at the same time. I'm like trying to overload myself in Shadow and Bone. It's one of the best things on TV right now. It's my favorite right now.
I'm excited to get all the way through it just so we can get to the next one.
Yeah.
I want them. So the next book that they're doing, the first book.
I don't know if anything's been properly announced in that sense, but I imagine this series is getting so much buzz that it would be kind of silly for them to not have a season 2, especially there's a whole trilogy of the books.
Yeah.
So
tell the whole trilogy.
Do the whole trilogy. Just keep the cast. Keep whatever you're doing right now. You're doing it right. Don't change a thing and give us season 2. Just do that. So don't try to overdo it. Don't get too many people involved, because then we face the problem of like too many chefs in the kitchen and I want this and I want that.
Yeah.
Like, no, what you're doing right now is perfect. Let's just continue this and run the long game and give us a season 2.
Now, this actually might be a good question for the people in the chat. I don't know if you know it. Is the series actually complete? Have they actually finished all of the books, or is it kind of like a what is
like
it
an
called?
Ongoing series? Like she's still writing?
Yeah,
I want to say she's
what's
done because this is a new series.
It's pretty old.
It's not old. I think it's been out for years.
Oh, okay.
Let me see when she first published it.
You know I mean, when did the first Game of Thrones book come out? That was many years ago, kind of a thing. And I was just hoping that
it was originally published in 2012, so not too old.
That's not bad.
Not too new.
Yeah, but I don't know if
almost
like the whole book series is complete. It looks like the last book was
2016. Crooked Kingdom.
Kingdom was in 2016. So yeah, I mean 2012,
So the Grisha trilogy is Shadow and Bone, Siege and Storm, and then Ruin and Rising, and then they have the duology. Let me see if I can find it.
Okay. Because, I mean, usually,
then it's King of Scars.
I think it's better for a TV show, movie, or series that is going based off of a book to be doing that once that series has ended. Because you now have a more tangible end goal, a more tangible end target. That's why I'm glad that they waited until the Wheel of Time series was finished for them to actually start doing all of that.
Yes. Because then you run into the problem Game of Thrones have.
Yes.
It's like, well, the show we think is going to go this way, but can the author, and how much does he want to let them in on his like secret? Because then people won't buy his book if it's finished out in the series.
Yeah.
So like I kind of get that mentality too.
And I also feel kind of bad for bad to a point, because I'm pretty sure he's plenty happy with the truckloads of money that were dumped on his front yard, kind of a thing, for Game of Thrones. But it's still, it's kind of like you've spent so many years of your life in this world, building this story, intricately moving your characters and mysteriously building your background. And then all of a sudden, it's kind of like, well, everyone kind of knows how it ends. Do I even want to finish these books? I mean, you kind of lose your enthusiasm once it's kind of been out on the table, kind of a thing.
But then on the flip side, if you keep waiting for him to finish and he's not ready to finish, because writing is a whole process, you have to be in the right mindset, right, to tell these stories. And then there's so many characters in his world that I don't think it's an easy task, even though he knows them really well. So, but with that said, currently, being on episode 3 and being only 10 chapters into Shadow and Bone, I can tell you this is my new favorite thing. I'm obsessed. I can't wait to get into the next books, all of them, and to finish the show, which only has 8 episodes. So we're almost halfway there. We're already
almost halfway done.
The next question we have via Super Chat is from Boogieatron.
So
before we do this one, I just want to let anybody know that if you have not watched Mortal Kombat and you don't want spoilers, maybe exit or mute us and don't look at the screen for the next
don't
4 minutes
because
this has a bit of spoiler comments in it, but we want to get to it because Boogieatron put it out there. So we'll give you a bit of warning to kind of
spoilers ahead.
Spoilers. Okay. And then we will go ahead and put it up right now. So Super Chat from Boogieatron 2000 writes, firstly, what is your opinion of the Mortal Kombat movie? And secondly, since they basically kill the heavy hitters, this is why I didn't want to make, because that's spoiler right there. Kill the heavy hitters in the MK universe. Do you think they were wasted, or is there a chance they come back as remnants?
That is actually very possible, because there was a certain line that Shang Tsung said that makes you think, oh, okay, so maybe they might be able to bring some of these people, some of these characters that you are mentioning.
I think in video game movies, no one ever actually dies.
Well, yeah, and
in this one specifically,
especially in Mortal Kombat, in the video games, it seems like people die, but then yet you want them in the next game, so they don't really die, kind of a thing. And also, how many times can someone get like decapitated? And round 2,
decapitation,
kind of
different fatality, please. I will agree. I feel like they definitely let go of some of the heavy hitters. Go earlier than I expected. Which means that if and when we get the second Mortal Kombat movie, we may not see them back, or they're going to have to, if we do see them back, they're going to have to create the storyline of how they were resurrected and brought back, which I don't think would be hard to do in like the realm, in the world of Mortal Kombat. I think it would be believable depending on the way they do it. I will say, we were just talking about this prior to the start of the live stream. Do you think they were wasted? I think at least one character was super wasted, and I wanted to see more of him.
I think there were a couple characters that were kind of just like, hey, we throw you in there. You don't have any lines, but yeah, now you're dead.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. So there were, my overall opinion, I think,
let me take this down. So
Mortal Kombat is that there were some amazing things, and there were some not amazing, very much not amazing things.
You gotta also allow yourself to embrace a little bit of the campy cheesiness that goes along with this movie. There's some places it's more prevalent than others, more obvious than others. But I would say like the first 7 minutes was like super serious tone, very like, I was like, wow, this is okay. Kind of wish the movie kind of fell along those lines of where the 7 minutes opening was. But I get also it's Mortal Kombat, so you have to,
you have to have a little bit,
a little bit of that, and especially like you think about what's the first in 1995.
Well, the first movie had plenty of cheese in it, but it played into that cheese very, very well. There were some moments in the newest iteration of Mortal Kombat, to where it didn't quite fit in. It's kind of like they really couldn't decide on which direction they wanted to go. So there were some things that were amazing, and then they tried to go for the campy, and sometimes it landed pretty well. Yeah. Sometimes it did not. It did not at all.
Ruru2 writes they only showed about 15 of the 40+ rosters of MK, and at the end of the movie they teased other characters that people were hoping to be in this movie but wasn't. So that meant if they have the option of doing a second movie, certain characters will definitely come about. We definitely saw another character's very specific weapon when they were in the temple. Raiden's temple.
That's
so
true.
Like she could totally come in. I'm actually surprised she wasn't in this.
You kind of had a Thanos' gauntlet in the background, kind of a moment.
That Leo DiCaprio. I know what those are. Yeah. So, all right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and move on to our next topic. And thank you so much for Boogietron for sending that in. And this is for Jack. Jack, you can come back. It is safe. Where spoilers are over. And with that said, we're gonna go ahead and dive into our Falcon and Winter Soldier finale spoiler review. Can you believe it? I feel like
it went by real fast. Yeah. I feel like, there were more episodes in WandaVision, I believe.
No.
Were they the same?
Weren't there only 6?
Oh, in WandaVision? No, there were 8.
What?
I believe there were, because there was talk about... I think, you're just a little cuckoo.
Crazy for Cocoa Puffs.
But that's funny because that was actually a line in WandaVision. How am I supposed to tell the kids that their mom's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs? But there were 8, I believe there were 8 episodes of WandaVision. I
don't even remember.
And 9 episodes of WandaVision. My apologies.
Oh, yeah.
But and there were only 6 episodes of Falcon and Winter Soldier, but it just ended, and it kind of I liked the way it ended. There was a lot of heart involved. Yes. There were a lot of good action scenes involved. And there was, there was just some moments that I just thought were incredible.
Yeah. definitely really enjoyed. Like I honestly just wanted 2 more episodes. I wish this was an 8-episode show because there were certain characters and arcs and stories that I wish could have played out a little bit more. Certain times, not the finale episode, but certain episode, I felt like I was like, oh, this is so rushed. Like, why didn't we give us like a part 1, part 2 for this episode? But overall, we're so happy with the series. We love the finale. Best of all, let's just get right down into it. Sam's new Captain America suit. He looked so good, very comic accurate. Looked fantastic, and I love the combination that he didn't lose the wings. Like he's got the shield and he's got the wings, so it's not like he completely said, I'm captain now, so I don't need the wings. Like that's a part of who he is already.
Yeah.
So why not add that to your arsenal of like awesomeness?
And it also gives him that edge. Instead of having the super soldier serum, he has those wings of his. And I love the choreography of how he used his wings.
Yes.
When he was protecting people, he had that he would hold the shield up and the wings will wrap around him and the people he's protecting.
And it's vibranium too now.
Yep, his wings are vibranium, so they're a lot stronger. I loved when I can't remember if he was getting pushed, he had the shield and the wings go straight into the ground.
Oh, it was the fight with Carly. Yeah, and he kind of used it as an anchor. Sick.
And I was just like,
so cool.
I loved how this now has really turned him into, has kind of raised him up to the next level of superhero. So he really can hold the mantle of Captain America.
Roto2 writes, does the Wakandans have a secret sequence to make him drop his wings? You know what?
Probably.
I probably, just as a failsafe, they did it for Bucky. They probably do it. It's their tech. So, we just don't know about it.
Pretty sure if you end up pissing off those Dora Milaje, they'll just be poof, poof, poof,
I don't feel like Sam. I think Sam knows better.
Very well, yeah. Sam is definitely more along the lines of the guy who would be like, I give you every ounce of respect that I'm able to muster.
As you
kind of a thing. Because the Dora Milaje have jurisdiction wherever the Dora Milaje find themselves.
That's amazing. We also got to talk about John Walker in this episode. I wasn't personally, I wasn't sure if he was going to show up in this episode, considering where we left him. Like, he was doing his DIY shield. I was like, is he just are we going to see him just in a future movie? And then that's when we'll be introduced to him as he becomes U.S. agent. But we actually got to see that in this one. But a couple of symbolic things for him, because he's gone through a lot. He's made some not great decisions. He's been put through a lot that kind of drove him, I feel like, to make that decision. And the best part for me was he was faced with the decision of going after Carly, who he holds responsible for killing his best friend.
Yeah. Or
save the truck full of people. Of, like the GRC members, the senators, I don't even remember who was in there. And you can't have both. It's one or the other. And at that moment, I remember saying, please make the right choice. And that brought me back to the moment where Lamar said to him, they were just kind of having like a little conversation, just two buds chatting and saying that to John, oh, you always might make the right decision in the heat of battle. And at that, when he first said, I was like, well, that's not what I've seen,
what we've seen
so far. But in this instant, it kind of brought me back to that moment where I feel that he made the right decision, and the symbolism of his DIY shield falling down, of him letting go of all of that.
Yeah.
And pulling or trying to pull a truck. I mean, he was kind of outnumbered there.
Yeah,
by
there
the Flag
was
Smashers.
What is that called? A moment of Captain America with the helicopter, with stretching out his arms and trying to.
Oh, Bucky did that.
Yeah, it was Bucky, and
he was trying to use the lock, the spider lock.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It looked
That's
like
where
a spider. So happy to see John having that moment there, and of course gets another visit with Valentina. And trying on the new costume, and U.S. agent is born. So, which means, and some of you guys have been talking about this towards the beginning of the show, but it's been announced that Captain America 4 is in the works with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Showrunner Malcolm Spellman, I think, was a Hollywood Reporter who had the exclusive on this. But I like that they are working with the showrunner, because if they want to kind of keep the synchronicity of the show to the next movie,
Mhm.
they absolutely should have somebody who, was very hands-on with the show to do the next film.
And it makes sense. This series does leave off to where a movie very much can pick up, kind of a thing. There's still lots of questions out there that need to be answered about Val, about Miss Sharon Carter.
We got to talk about her in 2 seconds. We'll get to her.
About U.S. Agent, about the new Captain America, about everything, and of course about Isaiah Bradley. I want him to take more of a role if he's in the movie.
Carl Lumbly, we're not done with you yet.
Exactly.
He's great. He's fantastic.
That actor did an amazing job.
Raise your hand. Put a hand raise up in the chat with like emoji if that scene made you cry, or any time when Isaiah Bradley was on screen.
All of Isaiah Bradley's scenes made me emotional.
Give us a little hands up emoji.
He had such an intensity that he was able to capture in his face and in his eyes.
Yeah.
And every word that he was able to portray, he said, you could hear deep down inside there was this pain, that how much was done to him, how much was taken from him, and how much he gave for his country. And yet they still treated him like a test guinea pig kind of a thing.
Terrible. I mean, also in real life that they literally did this to Black people, which is like awful. We have a super chat from Dark Jedi Knight who writes, my biggest fear is that they will do to Sam what they did to him in X-23, the comics, and give their mentals back to the original due to fan demand. Oh, really?
I believe so. Yeah. When X-23, because X-23 was supposed to be a replacement for Wolverine.
Right.
And also, of course, Sam with Captain America. But when those original characters came back, they kind of have to be like, oh, well, the original's back, so here's your shield. Oh, here are your claws, kind of a thing.
But Steve's done. He's done. How is he going to take back the mental?
No, that is true. I mean, honestly, though, they could bring back old Steve Rogers. I hope
wrinkly Steve are taking the shield and running.
I don't think. Well, that's the thing. I think in the comics he does play old. He does kind of play old Steve, where he kind of is more now of like a Nick Fury kind of a individual character, and he does kind of take over Shield for a little bit. But that does kind of suck. Yeah, that it's kind of like these people who take the place of the originals, and they do an amazing job, and then the originals come back, and it's kind of like, oh, sorry, you didn't do that good of a job.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. And you're like, And I hope that just does not happen.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I don't think that it would happen. So I'm going to just keep that positivity going forward and hope that doesn't happen. I felt like Sam, because of the show, throughout the show, his story and his journey to become Captain America, that's what the show did. And to take that away and just, I feel like that it just doesn't make sense to me. Like there's all this effort by all these people so we can get here, and then to give it back to, and like even Chris Evans and Feige, themselves, they said that they're like, no, like, Steve Rogers is done.
Yeah. And it makes sense because, in order to do that, to have that kind of scenario happen, you would need Chris Evans to come back and play that role. I think it would be very difficult to kind of recast it and have a different actor come in to place, and everyone just pretend. It's the same with Wolverine, it's hard to get someone besides Hugh Jackman.
You'd have to reboot a lot of stuff, and that's the entirety of the MCU.
Yeah.
Almost, if you want to do that, or somehow explain why Steve looks different. And I don't think that's what Marvel wants to do, but who knows? We don't know. So in the series, we had a lot of epic fight scenes. We definitely saw something I half expected, just didn't believe it. So I kept on saying, no, this is not. It's too obvious. This is not it. The reveal of Sharon as Power Broker.
Yeah.
Carly called her out on it, and then but Rock, I think is how you say his name, the Leaper.
Yeah.
Was like, oh, so you're the Leaper. He's like, oh, so you're the Power Broker. Now, having read through a lot of the comments in our reaction video, technically Sharon actually never answered, yes, I am the Power Broker. she never technically said yes. So
good
what if
point.
she's still undercover and doing something for somebody? However, that phone call she made after she got her full pardon is highly sus. Like, who is she? This doesn't seem like, to me, the same Sharon Carter that we met back in Captain America, which now leads to people speculating, could she play a part in Secret Invasions?
Mhm.
Is she a Skrull? Could this, if she is going to
Good
sell
point,
all
good
these
point.
like tech and, you know, Stark industry stuff, because she now has access to weapons and government secrets and stuff like that, could she also have some sort of part in Armor Wars? Like there's all these speculations out there, which I think is really, really interesting. To me, the Carter name feels a little tainted if she does go down this route. If this is truly Sharon Carter,
Yeah,
I just don't feel like this is in her person to do that. And you can say, yeah, after she came back from the blip, she was kind of forced out, and because of what happened, everybody got pardoned except for her. So she had to build a life of her own. So if she is truly hurt by that, yes, I can see like the turn. But then once she got the pardon, wouldn't you think she'd let all of that go? So what are you reading? I'm just curious.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Noelle said Sharon Carter's Mephisto. And so
Sharon all along.
I just saw it. I just glanced down and I was like, and it just made me chuckle.
That's funny.
So, but
when in
also,
doubt, play Mephisto.
I mean, I'm not too familiar with this storyline, but if I'm not mistaken, there is a storyline in the comics where Sharon Carter does or is a part of the conspiracy to kill Captain America, where Captain America was arrested. He was being escorted, I believe, out of the trial or out of the building, and there's a commotion, and Sharon takes out a gun and shoots him in the back.
Okay.
And kills him. But yet there was something to where she was coerced, or she doesn't quite remember. I'm curious if they're going to evolve that storyline too, to where Sharon might be responsible for, say, maybe Sam getting close to death or someone else. I'm curious if anyone in the chat remembers that storyline a little bit better than I do.
So if you guys know, go ahead and put that in the chat or in the comments if you're watching on the rebroadcast so we can read about it. Dark Jedi Knight says in the original Civil War.
That's right. Yeah, I remember it was Civil War related, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, that's what's great about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is the fact that they have so much material to pull from, and we don't know in which direction they're going. We know that they're going towards Secret Invasion, and I think that Secret Invasion is something that you kind of have to have a lot of superheroes involved in, because that is what makes it just so dangerous. Who's a Skrull? Who's not a Skrull? Who can I trust? Who can't I trust? I can't trust you. I don't know who to trust, so I'm not going to trust anyone. That's
going to be a great show to watch. I can't wait.
We also don't have some of the big hitters. We don't have Tony Stark, who was vital to the storyline of Secret Invasion. So I'm just excited to see how they're going to slowly evolve this, how they're going to evolve it, not just through the TV shows, but also through the movies. And so I'm just super excited. Just give me more, Marvel. Give me more.
Give me more. I'm seeing a really interesting comment here by Jet. Jet writes, I originally thought she was a Skrull, but if she was, her blood would have been purple, like how the Skrull blood is in Captain Marvel. And I don't remember seeing her blood.
I don't remember seeing her blood.
She covered it.
She did very
much. And she didn't want to go to the hospital. And I played that up as like, well, she's kind of wanted. She hadn't been pardoned yet, so of course she doesn't want to go to the hospital. But what if she's trying to hide who she really is?
Very true. No, that's very possible.
I love speculation. I love speculation. It's fun.
She would have access to government secrets and weaponry for the Skrulls.
Gosh.
So it would give those Skrulls a leg up, kind of a thing.
Yeah, that's really crazy. I mean, think about how deep undercover Sharon really was. Let's just say, even though she never personally said, yes, I am power broker, but like we're under the assumption that she is.
Yeah.
In the episode where she first came in and she helped Sam and Zemo and Bucky to get to the doctor, how she literally, these people, I mean, I feel like the power broker identity is pretty concealed. It's pretty secretive. So she literally like fended off by herself all these bounty hunters and shooting the doctor. Like, she's putting a lot on the line here. So that's really, like, I kind of want to go back and watch that episode again and see if we can pick up little hints here and there. Because I know the internet is like, half is kind of like, I hate what they did with Sharon. The other half is like, just you wait. There's more story to be told, and that's kind of where I'm.
And that's
sitting.
Honestly a constant theme with Marvel is the fact that, hold on, there's still more story to be told. It's kind of going to be interesting to kind of like almost start from the beginning and work your way forward with the Marvel Cinematic Universe and rewatch and be like, oh yeah, that's right, this built into this, when I thought, why did they just leave this hanging, but they actually continued this. And it kind of also fits to what Nicholas Roberts says in the chat, is like, but the Skrulls are good guys now. We only saw, I think there's some refugees, different tribes, different factions, but there are villages. The refugee Skrulls that we met, but then there's still the Skrull Empire, where you have the Skrull Queen and the ones who are probably still trying to find Olivia Colman in the role. And I so am curious on whether or not they're going to go with the prophecy theme of Earth being the prophesized new planet for the Skrulls, that it's part of their religion, that they believe that they deserve, or they have been promised this new land, kind of a thing, for them to build their new empire. So I'm just interested to see if there's going to be like some of those factions that you're going to have the main Skrull Empire that you could pretty much classify as evil, but then there are some Skrull refugees that have been removed from the Empire for so long that they are less interested in what the Empire is doing and more interested in the people who have helped them survive.
So here's my question to everybody. If we're playing fan theory here, if Sharon Carter, Power Broker, is a Skrull, then where is the real Sharon Carter?
Oh yeah.
What do they do with her? Is she up in space with Nick Fury?
Oh, maybe. That is a possibility.
That's so far-fetched. That's probably so wrong, but
not really, if you think about it. If Nick Fury probably was like, oh, hey, Sharon, the government turned its back on you. Well, how about you come up here, work with me? I'm going to send a Skrull down. I have some Skrull buddies. I'll send a Skrull down there to start, doing some work with this guy, the Power Broker that I know. So,
and the long game worked out because now she's got the full pardon because Sam, promised her that he would work on this, and he did.
Yep.
And she got it, and she was offered her old position back, which means all the access to the shield. I don't know. I don't even know if, because the phone call sounded so evil, like super soldiers are off the menu, but now we have access to weapons, intel, tech, and that's just like, it just sounded so evil, which Emily Van Camp is excellent at playing the perfect balance between the good and evil. Like, if you haven't watched Revenge, which I don't even know where you would find it now because the show is a few years old, but she's excellent in Revenge. That was the first time I was introduced to her as an actress, and I'm so happy she's a part of the MCU because I think she's really, really great.
And we also don't know if Sharon got snapped. Did she actually get snapped, or was no?
Somebody
she mentioned a line that's saying for the last 5 years,
right?
So that means she was around when people blipped out. Maybe.
Well, no. I think she was blipped because was it Endgame or Infinity War? They had all the photos of the people that were blipped, and her picture was up there. Movie Bunch Debbie pointed that out in the previous live stream.
Oh, I'm gonna have to go back and look at that because it also might be the fact that she could not be found. So either she was blipped or she's dead.
No.
Kind of a thing. But of course, it's more along the lines of she went into hiding or she went up into space with Nick Fury.
And Jack says Revenge with Emily Van Camp is on Disney Plus Star in the UK. So that's specifically to their region. So if you're in the UK, you haven't watched Revenge yet, watch it. It's good. I love it. I ate it up. Yep. And I think for us, I'm going to try to see if it's on our Disney Plus. If not, I'm sure I can do a Google search and find it somewhere. Yeah. Chat's confirming that she was indeed snapped.
Oh, okay. She was.
Yeah. They showed her photo on the board. Soccer TL and Jaden is saying this. And then Dark Jedi Knight with the super chat. Thank you so much. Writes, Zemo knew of the Power Broker before she ran. You think he knew? I'm pretty sure.
I wouldn't be surprised.
He knows too much, and he plays everything so close to the vest.
Yeah. Well, he knows how to do the espionage. He knows how to do That's what he was. He was a part of special. He was a part of that kill squad.
Yeah.
And yeah, so he's probably knows how to do some, very impressive spy work. I am a little bummed that we didn't see more with Zemo with his mask on, because that's how we all really know Zemo. Well, we know him from the comic books. Correct. With his mask on. But I'm also impressed with his butler. On
Evil Alfred is something.
Evil Alfred. No, that is actually a very good
some people
name for
were
him.
Saying that.
So, but I'm glad Zemo's still alive. It's really weird. If you started before Falcon and the Winter Soldier, starting to list some of the less impressive Marvel villains, Zemo probably would have been on that list. I suppose, as Loki is, of course, on the top. Now Zemo's working his way up to some of the more impressive villains, and some of the more villains that I want to see more of.
Yeah. Sam writes interesting point here, but remember Scott Lang was also on the board too. She could have been in hiding.
Oh,
and
yeah,
she is
true.
a spy. That would be she's good at disappearing. She'd be good at disappearing.
And how would you know if someone was actually blipped?
What, they just don't answer their phone, or they're not at their apartment when you stop by? That's equivalent to them being blipped. Like,
it's like one of those things that
confirm for sure.
Yeah, and I think actually I have to go back and check. Some of the pictures had blipped because people had seen them getting blipped.
Yes.
And some people just had missing.
Yes.
So I have to go back and check to see if it actually says missing or if it says.
Oh, yeah, snapped or whatever.
Or snapped.
Whatever. Would they say that on that sounds like unofficial. Like, it doesn't sound like government lingo.
Well, it wasn't. It was actually just Avenger lingo.
Oh, but still. Anyways, you guys, this has been so much. Yeah, Alice is saying, how do they take census? It's hard. I probably took a long time. After all the catastrophe of like planes falling from the sky because your pilot got snapped. That's horrifying. And how many people, got injured because of that, and then
and there's so much chaos after the blip, kind of a thing. After all these people get snapped, you're kind of like, how do we know that Sharon wasn't one of the people that died because her pilot crashed, kind of a thing? Her pilot got snapped and crashed into a building.
We don't know, but I feel like everything eventually will be revealed within the MCU, whether it's via another show or in the next movie, and that's kind of what's really cool about seeing these now, and then they kind of bring it back later. Like, I am so excited later on to see Doctor Strange 2, to see how Wanda is going to be integrated into the movie. That's going to be so much fun.
And now that I think about it, this is perfect for the movies, because everyone who watched WandaVision is going to go watch Doctor Strange and Doctor Strange 2, because they want to see what happens. Everyone who watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier is going to go see the new Captain America movie, that they're like, well, we want to see how the story continues. So it's just building up your audience more and more, and you're getting people who are dedicated, who are now even more dedicated to your merchandise or to your products, kind of thing.
Absolutely. Thank you, Blade, for joining us today. Blade says, I'm heading back to my Ren Fair activities.
Ooh, Ren Fair.
I want to go to a Ren Fair. I hope everyone has an amazing weekend. Hope you have a great time at your Ren Fair. We're going to go ahead and take this final super chat before we leave you guys. This one is from Jamie Thomas. Jamie, thank you so much. Jamie writes, do you think Sam will lead the next Avengers team?
Actually,
I feel like he could probably do it. Young Avengers.
He might
He's
start
already met
off.
Eli.
He's met Eli.
Right. So and then we have Kate Bishop. And who else? Who else do we have?
And we still have Miss Marvel, but we also have some other series / movies coming out of Ironheart. We have, like you said, Miss Marvel coming out. So it makes sense that, what might happen is the fact that if they do something to where another captain, like Steve does come back, he will go with the Avengers. Sam will train the young Avengers, or Sam is trying to integrate the next generation into the Avengers. I think that's a really good question. And that would be a really good evolution.
Oh, yeah.
Of Sam's character and being either the leader of the next Avengers or starting the young Avengers or having the young Avengers in training to be Avengers, kind of a thing.
So looking forward. There's just a lot to look forward to.
Oh yeah.
Like there are little teases here and there, and I think that's why we are
Take
liking
my money,
these shows. Pretty much. I mean, we're going back to Avengers Campus, and they already have our money.
Oh yeah, true.
We're subscribed to Disney Plus, and they have our
Take
money.
more of my money.
Take all the money. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us today on the live stream. We had so much fun chatting with you about all the topics today, going spoiler heavy on Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Oh, before we end, I also want to just point out that we loved that they changed the title at the very end to Captain America and the Winter Soldier. However, Bucky, he was the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
I think at the end of this story here, him giving his book of names to his therapist, I feel like the Winter Soldier chapter has closed for Bucky. So
yeah.
has he graduated? Like, is he fully White Wolf now then? Or is he gonna continue?
I think that would have been cool. Captain America and the White Wolf.
And the White Wolf.
Or Captain America and Bucky Barnes kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm along the same lines as you. I'm like, he's really not the Winter Soldier anymore.
Yeah, so we'll see.
He's kind of conquered that part of his life.
I mean, there's no other series of words that anybody can say to him that's going to trigger that again, right?
Yeah.
We hope.
No, I don't think so. But also, the thing is, though, in the comic books, even after he came back, he was always known as the Winter Soldier. I don't think he ever went back to being called Bucky Barnes or the White Wolf.
Because it's already kind of synonymous.
I might be wrong on the White Wolf part. I don't know if they actually changed it in a comic book series or not. But I think he kept the Winter Soldier as his name.
Interesting. Well, you guys, before we depart, we just want to know what is up next for the channel in ways of like reactions and stuff like that. Obviously, the regular reactions for trailers and things like that comes out, which we've been doing for years. We'll continue to do that. Specifically talking about the next show we'll be reacting to, which will be The Bad Batch for us.
Star Wars.
We're going to switch gears to Star Wars before we then go into Loki. So if you enjoy the Clone Wars series, or Rebels, and you enjoy Star Wars storylines, we'll be doing reactions to those in, I guess, for the next 6 weeks. 8 weeks. I don't know how many episodes.
Depending on how many episodes they have of each.
Before we go into Loki. So that is what's going to be next for us. And then, of course, on the Saturdays, we will get to talk all spoilers for The Bad Batch, which I can't wait to see.
Someone put in there a good title.
What?
Where'd it go? Captain America and Sergeant Barnes.
Oh, so Captain America and young Luke Skywalker.
I missed that one.
Oh, God. That's funny.
Oh, that's really good. I saw it scroll past, but I saw Captain America and Sergeant Barnes. And I was like, that is actually that would be a really good. Navi, did you just fart?
We're live, dog.
Oh my God. Oh, well, everyone, Navi's going to say bye-bye now. Look at that's a guilty face.
Wait, show her face.
That is
I got to take this off. Hold on.
I'm guilty. I farted right on your lap, Dad.
You did it, didn't you?
Oh my gosh, dog. You're cute and adorable. Now go away, you stink.
God. All right. We love you guys. We will see you on Wednesday for another live stream. If anybody wants to watch me play video games, I'll be streaming tomorrow on Twitch, twitch.tv/WendyLeeZaney. All right, guys. We love you so much. We will see you soon. Bye.